The room was filled with the quiet hum of machinery and the faint scent of gun oil. A group of Navy SEALs had gathered for a briefing, joking and jostling one another as tension blended with camaraderie. Then she entered. The air shifted. Every step she took carried authority, experience, and a presence that made even the most confident men pause. One of the SEALs, grinning, leaned over to his buddy and whispered, "Which war were you in?" expecting a lighthearted answer. "Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening." Her reply came, calm, measured, and sharp. "Ask your grandfather." The room went silent. The joke died in the air, replaced by awe. She was no ordinary visitor. She was a legend, a soldier whose stories could not be captured in simple timelines or medals. She had been part of conflicts that shaped nations, her life threaded through histories both known and hidden. And in that instant, the SEALs realized they were in the presence of someone who had lived the truth behind every story they'd heard. Her name was Captain Eleanor Ellie. She had spent decades on the front lines, both in combat and in covert operations, earning the respect of men and women alike, but rarely acknowledgement from those unacquainted with her rank or exploits. Today, she walked among them not as a myth, but as flesh, voice, and memory, reminding the young SEALs that valor did not come from bravado, it came from choice, from endurance, and from confronting the impossible. Ellie's eyes swept the room, taking in every face, every posture, every flicker of curiosity and respect. She noticed the subtle tremor in one SEAL's hand as he adjusted his watch, the quiet tension behind a forced grin on another. She understood what it meant to appear calm, while chaos brewed inside. She had been there before. She had survived wars that demanded more than courage. They demanded resilience, moral clarity, and the ability to carry guilt without letting it shatter you. The young SEAL who had spoken first cleared his throat, suddenly aware of the weight of her presence. "I didn't mean," he began. But Ellie's sharp gaze stopped him. It's not in anger, but in recognition that the truth sometimes needed no explanation. She had learned to command attention without demanding it, to teach lessons without raising her voice. And now, without a single raised finger, she had everyone in the room holding their breath, imagining the histories she carried. Outside, the wind rattled the windows, a reminder that the world beyond these walls was unpredictable and harsh, just like the missions she had undertaken. Ellie walked closer to the map table, tracing fingers along regions where battles had raged. Operations had succeeded or failed, and decisions had been made in seconds that would echo for years. She could feel the room's energy shift, the young men leaning in unconsciously, drawn by her authority and the stories untold. In her voice, there was warmth but also a quiet, undeniable edge. "Experience isn't measured by age," she said softly, almost as if reading the thoughts of the SEAL who had joked moments before. "It's measured by the choices you make when no one is watching, when no one can understand, when the cost is more than you can imagine." The team's respect deepened. They began asking questions, not the lighthearted banter from before, but real questions about strategy, about perseverance, about how to carry oneself through missions where failure meant not just personal loss, but the lives of teammates. Ellie answered carefully, mixing vivid recollections with lessons in humility and integrity. She described moments when she thought she'd never see her team again, and how she had been wrong. How courage often required more than physical skill. It demanded empathy, foresight, and, sometimes, letting go of ego. As the briefing ended, the SEALs realized something profound. They had encountered a living testament to history, a person whose existence demanded reflection on what it truly meant to serve, to sacrifice, to endure. There was moral weight in her words, a challenge unspoken. Could they live up to the legacy she represented? Could they act with honor even when no one was watching? Ellie left the room as quietly as she had entered, leaving behind a ripple of introspection, awe, and inspiration. The young SEAL who had spoken first remained frozen for a heartbeat longer than necessary, absorbing the lesson in humility. Outside, the wind continued to whistle, but it no longer seemed threatening. It had become a reminder of the past, of those who had come before, and of the courage that awaited those willing to rise to the challenge. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. Later, the SEALs would recount the story of that day, the day a legend walked among them and reminded them that history is not just something studied, but but something lived. They would reflect on the weight of the words, "Ask your grandfather," understanding that the true measure of bravery transcends generations. Courage, integrity, and perseverance ripple through time, touching those who are ready to receive it. Ellie's shadow lingered long after she left, not in mystery, but in the inspiration she had sown. The hum of the machinery and the faint smell of gun oil returned, but the room and the minds within it had been forever changed. Each young SEAL understood without speaking that legacy is not about medals nor tales told in victory parades, but in the quiet, unwavering choices made when the stakes are highest. If this story moved you, leave a comment below and subscribe. Share where you're watching from, and join us for more cinematic, true-to-life stories where ordinary people meet extraordinary challenges, and where courage and wisdom always leave a mark. Because sometimes a single answer can rewrite the way we see the world, and remind us that heroes exist not in legend, but in the choices we make.